Hello friends, Cynthia here in my quilt lab, and it's a new year, so that means there's a new block of the month to tackle, and I'm working on the Batiks by Northcott block of the month named Symphony. Now you'll see this year it comes in two colorways. I'm going to be focusing on the neutral colorway, but you may see me pull out some scrappiness for this fun bright colorway, because I think that's really fun and bright. So maybe you'll see some bright colors as well. I'm going to do my best to keep things labeled, because in this neutral colorway you'll see there's lots of really close tones. So please keep your little sheet of cards handy where it comes with all of the different colors, because you will need that so you don't get confused. It is month number 1. Let's dive in. And of course, if you're interested in more information about all this stuff, check that description below, and there's going to be lots of links of jumping in, getting to, and I may even have some kits still available if you want to join me along in this ride. Let's see what month number 1 has in store for us. Let's go! Alright, month number 1 is all about the block square in a square. There's my completed ones. There are several blocks that you're going to be making, but in a bunch of different colorways. This is why you need to make sure you have your fabrics all labeled so you know which colors go with what, and vice versa, and how many you're going to be making of each. This is a great pattern because it is very beginner friendly. So if you're not comfortable with quilting, or maybe you're not comfortable doing or quilting with batiks, this is a great project to get into, because it's going to be all simple cuts, all simple stitching. And yeah, let's talk about block in or square in a square. You're going to see from your cutting directions that you're going to have two types of squares, big ones and small ones. And these small ones, let me put my little letters here in the center, are going to be lined up here in the corner. The instructions come with a cute little tips and techniques guideline that you'll be following throughout the entire year. And when it talks about the square and the square, it'll show you in the directions. It's going to have you do one at a time. It's going to be you do a seam across the center, cut away, and then do the next one, the next one, and the next one, making kind of this around the circle. I might be a little on the impatient side. Don't tell anybody I said that. I like to do 2 at a time. So I put the 2 in the corners here. Let me grab a little pencil or your favorite cutting utensil, or your favorite pencil, chalk, whether what it is. And I'm going to draw a little line right here down the center of this. Now I'm using a lead pencil, so that might be a little difficult to see. Let me pull out a chalk. How many of you have tons of different types of pencils? I know I do. This is one of my favorites too. This is a little chalk. They don't look like this anymore, but they're a beautiful little chalk. So you can see there's that center line. That's what we're going to be stitching on. So I can do the other side too while I'm here. And you can see how nicely this chalk just brushes away. It gets a little brush, 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 brush. Alright, so there's my 2 lines. I'm going to throw a couple of pins in so that I don't lose it on the way to the machine. And I'm going to stitch right on top of that line. When I finish stitching, I'm going to trim 1/4 inch away, cut these little wings off, and then we're going to fold this open so that that square stays complete. Then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side with the last 2. So let's take a few pictures as I go, and I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, there we go. There's the finished block 1A of the square in the square. So like I said, there's a great tip sheet. Make sure you read through it because it gives a lot of good tips. Let me just give one of my own. Typically when I'm piecing anything, I like to use what they call a scant 1/4 inch. Now what's a scant 1/4 inch? So it's the idea that when you draw the line, you're moving just to the one side of it. In my case, to the right, because that's where my machine's neck is, right? And scant has a couple different definitions. Some quilters will say it's a thread or two away. In my case, I use a needle size. So let me see if I can zoom in on one of these sides so you can see it. My chalk has brushed most of it away. But my chalk drawn line is just to the left. Just one little stitch length to the left of where I did my stitching. And why do I use a scant? Well, so the idea is that anytime you fold fabric over, it's gonna ever so slightly change the size of that fabric. And you know, as quilters, we want to be as perfect as possible so that we're not having any issues when we go to piece these together, especially something like a block of the month where we're not doing everything right now. We're spacing it out over 6, 10, 12 months. So we want to make sure we get as nice and clean a block as possible. And that way we don't have to square up, which is impossible, or square down, which in this case I have to do just a smidgen right there. So a scant 1/4 of an inch. So you can do some more searches on that to find out more details if you're interested. This first block has several different color variations. There are 5. Let me just pull these aside a little bit. Each variation has a different number of how many you're going to make. It's block 1A is 2, block 1B, which isn't labeled in the printout in the pattern. There's 3 of those. Block 1C isn't listed as well. There's 2. And then 1D and 1E. There's just 1 of each of those. So you have a lot of squares to get done this month, but it's a nice easy block to start us up. I hope you stick with me on this amazing adventure with the Symphony block of the month. And if you'd like to join me, I still have kits available. You can go down to the link that says Adirondack Quilts. That's where I work. Click on it, do a little searcheroo, and I'll tell you more information about that and how to sign up. We mail anywhere in the US. And I hope to see you next month. Give me your thumbs up if you thought this was helpful, and I'll see you next time in my quilt lab. Have a good one. Bye-bye.